Hello, welcome to another episode of Clues, Cues and Reviews, and today we're looking at a double bill, 7 Deadly Sins 195, 196. This week's chapter is 196. Unfortunately I wasn't able to do 195 due to personal matters and the birth of my child, so I'm going to do a summary of that, then get onto the 196, but to be fair 196 was a bit meh for me, so this will be a short review. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. So 195, quite a few different things happen. To give you kind of a breakdown of the key moments, I'll just run through them and I'll give you thoughts on what these symbolize and the main kind of elements this meant to me. So the first thing, Meliodas turns Frauderin into a sieve. By sheer force and being a pinball, he literally just goes through him. We also get clarification on the amplification factor. So we don't really get specifics, but what we get told is that obviously Meliodas is nearly double Frauderin, but his demon mark amplifies that further. So 60,000 is his normal state, non-demon mark enabled. So that's the first thing. There's like a scene where he slaps Frauderin and I'm like, what the hell, that's a bit crazy. And then we get into a little bit more, we get a flashback, and this is what I found important. I'm going to read this out. Aronach and Zeno were the names of the two of the 10 commandments that Meliodas killed. I'm assuming they were in like a 3-man cell when he gave up on them for love. Something I've been harping on about for a while, which is the reason why I thought he left, was for love, and that would be one of the original ancestor of Elizabeth, Liz, the princess. So that was like kind of clarified here. But we get to know their names, their abilities that are a bit out there, but we don't know about that. All we know is these are the names of the people that Meliodas killed. And these are the ones that Glushina and Dolor took over for. Then we get kind of a Cell versus Gohan scene where he wants to kill himself, kind of like how Cell did with wanting to destroy the planet, and Goku saves them. This one was a bit different because Grimoire is the kid that steps in, creates a barrier. So the one that's been turned into a kid who's Frauderin's body's son, and he goes, don't kill anybody, don't kill my daddy, and he goes, look, I promise I won't kill anybody, and then he stands up and tells Meliodas to kill him. He goes, look, I promise I won't kill anybody. He stands there and he gets uppercut to oblivion. Now, there's a few things I want to talk about with this. Number one, one of the questions that is asked in the past, and then Frauderin realizes after all these years, from like so many thousands of years, is he thought, what the hell is this thing about love? Why would you give up everything for love? But then 3,000 years later, he's found out that he was attached to Grimoire. Being so long in Dreyfus's body, he found out the meaning of love because he felt attached to Grimoire. He didn't want to kill him. He saw him crying and he made that promise. So he understood what that feeling was like. So in a sense, he had that understanding with Meliodas. Meliodas, of course, was shown to be a badass and a crazy guy. We knew as readers that there was going to be a chance that he would lose part of his humanity. This is confirmed. He is, no shit's taken, Meliodas, and people are now seeing that. So those are the key elements. So death of Frauderin truly being selfless. We get to see crazy Meliodas, others get to see crazy Meliodas, and this is probably going to set up at some point Gauther's return of his power. Crazy enough, Gauther is the one that he's talking to in the flashback anyway. Coincidental, I think not. But anyway, I found that interesting. That's 195. Let's move on to 196. So, 196. It was a meh chapter for me because it was really a cool down / clarification chapter / kind of ending one part of the story to start another, and sometimes they aren't always the most exciting purely because we're so used to the 7 deadly sins having so much hype. So it's understandable that I'd be this way. Anyway, let's go through the little things that do happen and then I'll give my thoughts at the end. So Hawk returns. He's like, apparently if he poops he loses the form. So apparently he poops and lost the form. The princess meets him. He's upset that his mum's dead. His mum isn't dead. Mama Hawk is still alive. Well, hey, happy days. Escanor meets Merlin. Interesting. Anyway, it's cool that they meet up here. I guess that's one of the reasons why he was fighting, because he wanted Merlin to be saved. So he probably is happy that she's alive. But there's more to her than meets the eye, obviously, and I think it's leading towards demon. Now, basically, we get clarification or something. The curse. So this is how it works. So basically, we're told that the more Meliodas dies, the more he loses his humanity. The stronger he gets, but the closer he gets to his original form, which was this vile, destructive, heartless, soulless, next to be Demon King individual. So it's important to bear that in mind. And we thought this was going to strain the relationship between Ban and Meliodas, and they have this kind of a moment where you kind of say, look, we need to have a toast sometime in the future. But it's a bit awkward, so because they know each other so well, there's like a glance that kind of speaks 1,000 words, and that's pretty much it. And even Merlin stops from Escanor from going to see him, goes, leave him be for the time being. We'll be alright, we'll speak to him later. I am so grateful that King did not turn up, because that would just make things worse, because you know what he's like, he'll go crazy and blah de blah de blah. I'm assuming he's with Diana somewhere, and I'm sure we'll find out very soon. It's also important to bear in mind that I guess would it be four of the 7 deadly sins are together? I'm not sure where Gowther is at the moment. I'm sure he'll turn up sooner or later. Anyway, so that was interesting. Now, what I found really interesting was the fact that Merlin said, regardless of the atrocities that Fraurin did, he did not deserve to die the way he did, getting decimated. It kind of felt like a dishonorable death, so to speak. So it leads me to believe just something to do with the demons. So that's why we had that. Now, we had the funeral of Mamas, Dogedo, Denzel, and I could not remember his name, but his name is Gustav, Jericho's brother. And there's like an emotional scene there where Jericho blames Hendrickson and Dreyfus, and then Hauser steps in, and basically she blames them for being possessed and doing all these atrocities, and Hauser saying, look, it's not their fault, they didn't choose to be possessed, even though they kind of did, but it wasn't his fault, he was saving his friend. But hey, we digress. So the king asks for peace, and it kind of moves that along, and then we're left with a little bit at the end that basically is Meliodas is scared and he's emotional, the fact that he enjoyed killing Fraudrin to the point he was giddy talking about it, and he starts crying, he's emotional when he's talking to Elizabeth about it, but at the same time before that he's happy that part of his chapter is over. So ultimately what this means as an overall chapter is a few different things. We are closing the book on this element, like a little mini war. They took over Leonis, the kingdom of Britannia. They took over that area. We've gotten away from that area. But this is kind of like a calm before another storm, because there's so much that's not really completely confirmed. They've not told us exactly if everyone's dead. More than likely they're not. It's too easy for that to be the case. There's strained relationships. King not being the helps. Ban obviously knows there's something going on, but he's on the edge right now. Meliodas is teetering on the edge, and if he did go that next step and he did die again to become full demon mode, I'm assuming his base form probably going to be about 90,000, which is why his brothers respected him so much, even though their power is 60,000-ish right now. That's what I think is going to happen. So if he does go dark mode, that's where I think his power is going to be. How powerful he is now, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, it wasn't the most exciting of chapters, but it had to be done to kind of put an end to this chapter so we can move forward. Hope you enjoyed the chapter review. Hope you enjoyed the catch-up. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought. As always, please share, subscribe, and pass this on to people you might think would find value from this. And I'll see you next time. Peace.